presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and powered by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Welcome to the podcast, where former San Antonio police officer, author, and pastor Tim Rupp walks you through real-life scenarios involving our police officers and digs into the depths of facts and opinions on each case. This is Cop Talk, and it starts now.
Hello and welcome to Cop Talk, the radio show and podcast of the Strong Blue Line. I'm Tim Rupp. Here also with me is the operations manager for the Rev.FM, Mr. Gary Austin. Hello, Gary.
Hey, Tim Rupp. How's it going?
I'm good. It's doing well, Spear. Can I call you Spear now?
Spear.
Yes, because we looked up. I said, Gary, what does your name mean? What does Gary mean? And we found it means spear. You're like the head of the spear.
Yeah, the head of the spear.
Yeah. So
pretty cool.
Good to be here with you, Spear.
The meaning of names.
The meaning of names. You know, the names nowadays, some people name their kids like silliest stuff.
They do.
You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
How do we get off on that, Gary?
I don't know.
I don't know. You know, we're going to talk about the tragedy on this show of the hill country floods in Texas, in central Texas.
Horrible.
But yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of the rescues and stuff that first responders were involved in. So kind of excited to get to that. Anyways, that's what we're going to talk about on our show. But before we do that, we'll get to the officers that we want to honor today from the Officer Down Memorial page. Gary, I've got Constable Gideon Manchester, Fall River Police Department, Massachusetts. Fall River.
Oh.
You know, how many towns are named Fall River in this country?
Lots.
A lot. Yeah, there's Fall River. We have
a Fall River.
We have a Fall River church here.
Yeah?
And,
do?
I think that's what it's called. Fall River Church. It is.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts. You know, I was just a couple weeks ago, I was in Manhattan, Montana.
Oh.
So it was kind of...
Took me a minute there.
Yeah. Anyways, this is Constable Gideon Manchester, Fall River Police Department, Massachusetts. End of watch Friday, July 16th. This date in history, 1852.
Ooh.
Constable Gideon Manchester confronted a suspect who was burglarizing Fall River stores. The burglar was seen breaking into numerous businesses and stole approximately $500 in cash in the early morning hours. Now, this is 1852.
That was a lot of money.
$500 in cash is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Constable Manchester confronted him and attempted to place him under arrest, but the suspect drew a pistol and shot Constable Manchester, mortally wounding him. The suspect was later arrested and convicted of murdering Constable Manchester. He was executed on April 28th, 1854. So almost 2 years later, he was executed for the murder of the constable. Constable Manchester was survived by his wife, mother, and 3 young children, 35 years of age.
Wow. Just young.
3 young children. Badge number 52. So they had his badge number from 1852. His badge number was 52.
Huh.
What do you have there, Gary?
Well, this is Police Officer Anthony Ferguson from Alamogordo Police Department in New Mexico. End of watch Sunday, July 16th, 2023. So at about 2 a.m., so the dog watch
right? Yeah, dog
shift, right?
Yeah.
They saw a subject driving a vehicle without headlights or taillights. So the officers activated their emergency lights, but the subject didn't stop. But officers didn't initiate a pursuit. But a mile away, the vehicle crashed and the subject fled on foot. Officer Ferguson pursued, and the subject pulled out a shotgun at that time and fired and hit Officer Ferguson right in the face.
Wow.
Another officer returned fire and struck the subject in the leg. That's all we know about the story.
That's it. You know, and you know, they went to pull him over and stop him for a minor traffic violation. He fled, so they did not pursue. And probably the reason they didn't is a lot of agencies have a no pursuit policy if it's a minor fraction.
Oh.
So if it's a minor thing, like, you know, so I don't agree with that. I think it should be the officer's discretion, not just a blanket policy that you do not pursue. But anyways, they mentioned that they didn't pursue, but the guy continued to flee anyways. He thought the police were at him. He wrecked. And when people wreck after pursuit, they usually bail out and run.
Yeah.
They don't bail out and then shoot officers, but it happens. And it happened this time.
It sure does. Yeah. So the subject, Officer Ferguson, was flown to El Paso, where he passed away the next day. The subject was treated at the hospital and was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. Officer Ferguson had served with the Alamogordo Police Department for 11 years, survived by a daughter, son, mother, father, and 4 brothers. Wow. So he was 41.
41 years old. Yeah. Wow.
Yep. Another young one.
And you were talking about that, Gary, before we came on air, about how you like reading these stories and being reminded of, like, every day officers in this country get shot. Now, there's not an officer shot and killed every day in this country. Mm-hmm. Normally, off the top of my head, we have about 60 officers shot and killed per year. That's shot and killed. There's others that are stabbed. There's others, obviously, that are killed in car accidents and these kind of things. Lately, the average officers killed in the line of duty is about 125 to 150 or so per year. But as we look around, how many officers get shot at? That's happening daily. And officers who get shot, not mortally wounded, but who get shot, perhaps a flesh wound, as they say, or some get a more serious wounds. They lose eyes and things like that. But it's good to be reminded that officers are out there daily facing evil and trying to rein it in, so you and I can live in peace. Yeah, exactly. So we that's why we like to honor these officers and remember them, because who's going to remember an officer in 1852? Right. Who was killed? But we try to go through here and
it is very cool.
So we enjoy doing that. Okay. So we're going to talk about the hill country. Now, this area in Texas, you know, I lived in San Antonio for 33 years. Mm-hmm. We often went to the hill country. Matter of fact, I used to hunt with my father-in-law in Hunt, Texas. And this is right at the start of where all this flooding happened. It went from Hunt down through Kerrville into Comfort, Texas. All that area there where the Guadalupe River is. Now, the Guadalupe River does not run into San Antonio. It kind of bypasses San Antonio on the north and runs through Seguin. But it wouldn't have affected things down that far south. What causes this flash flooding there is an enormous amount of rain dumped at one time. Mm-hmm. And the Texas hill country is, as it describes, it's a lot of hills. It's rocky, a bunch of cedar trees, small cedar trees growing there, but there's also a bunch of limestone. So the water just sheds off. It doesn't go in. And when they said they had upwards of 20 inches within a couple hours.
That is outrageous.
Here we get an average of 14% or 14 inches of precipitation annually. Yeah. Here, 14. That's 20 in a couple hours. And it's just unbelievable how fast the water rolls. I mean, we talk about it, you see it. Flash floods. I remember back in the late, when was this? Let's see. I was with Aaron. This must have been in the late, probably 99 or 1999 of that. We lived in La Vernia, which is southeast of San Antonio. And I remember it was on a Tuesday. It was my day off. It was in the summertime, early summer. And I was going to take Aaron downtown San Antonio, where we were going to go play volleyball or something. Mm-hmm. So we're in the car, we're driving down, and it's raining. It's raining, and I get halfway down. I didn't even hit the city yet, and I'm like, "This is too much rain." I said, "I'm going back." So I turned around and went back home. La Vernia got flooded. That's where we lived at. We ended up with 11 inches of rain. La Vernia flooded. And our house was untouched, but it was an amazing flood there, you know. Wow! And that was 11 inches. This was twice as much. Yeah. So
and that makes sense that as you described the limestone and the geographic area, but it's it's known as flash flood alley, right?
Yeah,
Or
that's
whatever
what it is.
whatever
Yes,
they call
it is.
So because it doesn't soak the water, I mean, it
doesn't have time to soak the water.
Yeah.
It floods in. It doesn't have time. Plus, because of the terrain, it just doesn't, and everything
terrain.
heals, so it just doesn't sit. It rolls down into the river, and it floods that river.
Very tragic. This latest one.
And so as I was going through there, I picked out this story, and this comes from Police One. Texas officials describe story of heroes in the aftermath of the deadly floods. Now, keep in mind, Gary, this was written on July the 9th. We are not broadcasting this until July the 16th. So because this is just a recent story, it's a little bit dated, even as we're broadcasting here. Kerr County, Texas. As floodwaters receded across the Texas Hill Country, first responders in Kerr County remain at the center of an intensive search and rescue operation following the deadly July 4th disaster, officials said in a July 9th news conference. Officials have confirmed 95. As of today, when we're airing this, it's 120 fatalities.
Yeah.
120 fatalities, including 36 children, 14 adults, 13 children remain unidentified. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Authorities say 161, and the last count was 172 are still missing. That means, Gary, we can almost, if all these 172 end up being fatalities, we can almost top out at 300.
Man.
That is just unbelievable.
Really is.
Sheriff's deputies, police officers, fire personnel, and emergency medical teams have been working around the clock battling rough terrain and treacherous conditions to recover the missing and assist survivors. We have over 2,100 people out here at some capacity on the incident, Sheriff Larry Letha said. It's all hands on decks. All personnel that we have are available or out here. But we also have an additional 2,000 plus helping us. So he says 2,100 people's out there, 100 are his, 2,000 extra. And I know I think there's 5 or 6 states that are sending people in to help.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's good.
That's good. In Hunt, Texas, one Kerrville patrol sergeant found himself trapped by the rising water. Instead of retreating, he began rescuing people. And he saw people, dozens of people, trapped on roofs. He saw people trapped in swift-moving water. He gave them encouragement over his public address system in his vehicle. He told them to be strong and that he would get to them as quickly as he could and to hang on. And he knew that he needed help, Kerrville Police Sergeant Jonathan Lamb said. The officer then recruited a detective and joined local volunteer firefighters and an ER doctor. So there's an ER doctor, and what do ER doctors do? They just help people.
Yeah.
And so he's out there helping out because he's just built that way. He or she,
right.
I'd say whether it's a female or male doctor. For 13 hours, they rescued residents, treated injuries, and coordinated helicopter evacuations.
And this is early in the morning.
It started early in the morning, so they're out there all day long from dark to dark doing this. Lamb also detailed efforts closer to town. Our officers spent hours going back and forth. In that first hour, they evacuated over 100 homes and rescued over 200 people. He recounted how officers waded through waist-deep and chest-high water to carry people from trailers and RVs to safety. In one case, 3 officers used a garden hose as a lifeline to rescue 2 people clinging to a tree in the floodwaters.
Can you, Tim, have you ever experienced walking through water, waist-deep, and not necessarily saving somebody, but have you ever experienced that?
I have. We went camping when we first got here. It's been, 15, 16 years ago, and we went up to the Yellowstone area. And to get where we were camping, we walked through 11 miles in, but we had to wade across the water. And so I've waded through, and it was not fast-moving water.
Oh, right.
It was moving, but it wasn't fast-moving.
Yeah.
But I have fished in swift-moving water.
Uh-huh.
But I have waders on. I did not go up to my waist. There's no way I'd go in that kind of swift water.
Right.
Fishing.
It Fishing, right.
Because I'm there to enjoy fishing. I'm not going to do all I can not to drown fishing.
Yeah.
But to your point, Gary, have you?
It's I was going to say fishing. I've experienced, and not waist, depth,
but up to your thighs.
But up to your thighs, and you have waders on, but
you can feel that water.
Yeah, you can. And reading about this, it's one thing to read about it. We're telling the story, but to experience that. I just can't even imagine, because they're not easy conditions. It's still dark, and I think it's early morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, late at night, but you're tretching in water. You're just so difficult, but they're doing it.
It is, because you go out there, you're like, here's a rushing river of water, and you're like, there's no way you're going to get in that water, but there's somebody on their side saying, "Help me."
Yeah.
And you just go.
Yep.
I mean, some won't, but these first responders, they just go.
Yeah.
They just, and it wasn't only officers; it was volunteer firemen, it was citizens, ER doctor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was pretty cool about these stories about officers.
So cool.
Folks I don't know, I'm getting back to the article. This is from Sergeant Lamb. Folks I don't know how many lives our KTP, that's Kerrville Police Department, saved in an hour in Kerrville. But I know that this tragedy, that as horrific as it is, could have been much worse. Beyond the rescues, officers have joined foot searches, combing through dense brush and debris piles along the Guadalupe River. Lamb noted that even off-duty officers volunteered to assist. So the guys coming in off-duty, they're like, I'm just coming in to help.
Yeah.
He continues, yesterday was the first day we were able to give a couple of them some downtime. So we sent an officer home to rest. But rather than taking a day off, a much well-deserved day off, he got up and put on his gear, and he volunteered to go out on foot with the ground search party. And he spent his day up and down the Guadalupe River, going over, under, around trees, searching for victims to try to reunite the missing with their families.
Mm.
This is a story of tragedy, but it's also a story of heroes, Mayor Joe Herring Jr. added. Captain Jason Waldrop with the Kerr County Sheriff's Office highlighted an operation involving heavy equipment to search debris-clogged riverbanks. We have coordinated a team with a local construction company, the Texas Department of Public Safety, some fire departments within Kerr County, and a fire department from Acuna, Mexico. So we had some Mexicans coming up and helping us out. That's
wow.
Cool. I didn't know that. And we're looking and searching the deeply impacted flood debris along the river. These areas are where a lot of debris is bottlenecked. So there are a lot of large trees. Have you seen that on TV, Gary, that just down trees, large trees are just uprooted and just pushed over?
Yep.
There's a lot of vehicles. It's a lot of home structures. I was talking to Sherry, and she said she saw where just a house was floating down the river with people in it. You could still see the people in it in the house.
My goodness.
I'm not talking about a mobile home. There are plenty of them too, but a regular house was just floating down the river. So we are using very heavy equipment, excavators and skid loaders to remove this material and do a deep impact search of where it is. So what we ask for those who are out there working, the local residents, families of the missing, even some of the search teams, if you see these very large excavators working, please avoid these areas. Officials also ask residents and potential visitors to avoid sightseeing. That's a big thing, Gary.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with police officers, I don't care if it's at a scene of a major accident, people rubbernecking, going by, just rubbernecking and stop. Just be safe. Follow the officers. Go around the incident. Go home and read about it on social media or something like that. Don't cause more problems. The warning comes after multiple unauthorized drones have been spotted in the sky surrounding recovery areas, including one that crashed into a rescue helicopter. Oh, that's real good. Oh, my goodness, rendering it useless for recovery work. Our first responders were hampered by heavy traffic yesterday, mostly sightseers who are making things worse. If you're not from here, don't come here to see the flood damage. So,
that makes sense.
Are there things that people can do? Yes, they can volunteer, they can help, but if you're going to volunteer, go through a coordinated effort by the sheriff's department, the police department, the state of Texas, or an agency that works well with them, like Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah.
Samaritan's Purse, you guys know it's from the Billy Graham organization, and they do a fantastic job. They go there, and they just bring things in to help people get back on their feet, and they send chaplains out there and so forth, and it's an amazing thing. Another article I found here, Gary, comes from the Coast Guard Foundation. And I thought this was pretty cool. The U.S. Coast Guard flew a helicopter out, a rescue helicopter. Have you seen the movie? Remember that movie that, who was it in? The guy that plays in Yellowstone and all them. Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner plays in The Swimmer. Was that the name of the movie?
Yes.
He was a swimmer. He was a Coast Guard swimmer. Anyways, that type of helicopter went out there. It flew up from Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi is about 300 miles south of San Antonio, so this is about 350 miles south. Went up there on the 4th of July. These guys are working. Of course, that's the busiest time when everybody else is off partying and having fun on the 4th of July. First responders, rescue workers, that's their peak season. They're working. So they flew up. And it says there, among the most watched rescues were the evacuations of Camp Mystic in Hunt, Texas. The historic girls' camp became the center of national attention when the floodwater from the Guadalupe River rose an unprecedented 26 feet in less than 1 hour. That's just amazing.
Wow. That is crazy.
26 feet, catching campers in their beds and scattering survivors across the flooded area. The crew of a Coast Guard MH-65E Dolphin helicopter faced what the rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin described as some of the worst flying conditions we'd ever been in to reach the scene. Despite the dangerous weather, they successfully rescued 5 campers before deploying Ruskin to coordinate further evacuations by a variety of responding agencies. Ruskin's ground coordination proved crucial as he triaged survivors and directed helicopters from multiple agencies to locate more than 200 additional campers through the disaster zone. So here's a Coast Guard swimmer, 26 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how long has he been at it? 5-6 years, I'm not sure. But he goes there, they deploy him on the ground. See, I would have never thought about that.
I wouldn't either.
But then I guess you get to thinking, if he's deployed on a boat, that's sinking, he's got to coordinate rescue.
It's true.
So he's deployed here, and he's able to coordinate all this stuff and save 200 campers. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
You have all this chaos happening, and then here's a guy in a uniform, and he's a rescue swimmer, and he takes charge.
Yeah.
And you look to him to coordinate, and he does his job, and I think it's an amazing.
It is really cool.
Thing. So that was really cool.
Yep.
So, as we, oh my goodness, our show is coming to an end, Gary. Again, we always get caught by that clock. Why don't you just get rid of that clock?
Well, we just have so much to talk about, Tim.
Hey, this was a really cool show, and talking about the rescues and so forth. Please continue to keep Texas and all their families as the recovery efforts continue. And hey, thanks for listening in. If you have a topic or question you want to address on Cop Talk, please send me an email. You can email suggestions, questions, comments, or complaints to coptalk@therev.fm. That's coptalk@therev.fm. Thought from the Good Book today. Do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for such sacrifices are pleasing to God. Thanks for joining us and helping to make the thin blue line a strong blue line.
Cop Talk is presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and sponsored by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Questions and comments are always welcome by email to coptalk@therev.fm. Listen, follow, leave a review, and share this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or YouTube. And visit thestrongblueline.org to learn how you can be a supporter. Cop Talk is a Rev FM production, produced and edited by Gary Austin. Thank you for joining us on Cop Talk.